Assalamu alaikum viewers. I hope you all are doing well. Friends, I am back with my new video. And today we are going to talk about another great personality, about another historic personality from Turkey who ruled from 1876 to 1909, under whose autocratic rule the reforms movement of Tanzimat reorganizations reached its climax, and who adopted a policy of pan-Islamism in opposition to Western intervention in Ottoman affairs. So yes friends, today we are going to talk about Abdul Hamid. So let's talk about him in detail. A son of Sultan Abdul I, he came to the throne at the deposition of his mentally deranged brother Murad. On August 31, 1876, he promulgated the first Ottoman constitution on December 23, 1876, primarily to ward off a foreign intervention at a time when the Turks' savage supervision of the Bulgarian uprising, May 1876, and Ottoman successes in Serbia and Montenegro had aroused the indignation of Western power and Russia. After a disastrous war with Russia in 1877, Abdul Hamid was convinced that little help could be expected from the Western power without their intrusion into Ottoman affairs. He dismissed the parliament, which had met in March 1877, and suspended the constitution in February 1878. Thenceforth, for 30 years, he ruled from his seclusion at Yildiz Palace in Constantinople, assisted by a system of secret police, an expanded telegraph network, and a severe censorship. After the French occupation of Tunisia 1881 and assumption of power by the British in Egypt 1882, Abdulhamid turned for support to the Germans. In return, concessions were made to Germany, culminating in permission 1899 to build the Baghdad Railway. Eventually, the supervision of the Armenian Revolt 1894 and the turmoil in Crete, which led to the Greco-Turkish War of 1897, once more resulted in European intervention. Abdul Hamid used pan-Islamism to solidify his internal absolutist rule and to rally Muslim opinion outside the empire, thus creating difficulties for European imperial power in their Muslim colonies. The Hejaz Railway, financed by Muslim contribution from all over the world, was a concrete expression of his policy. Internally, the most far-reaching of his reforms were in education. 18 professional schools were established. Darufulun, later known as the University of Istanbul, was founded in 1900, and a network of secondary, primary, and military schools was extended throughout the empire. Also, the Ministry of Justice were reorganized, and railway and telegraph systems were developed. Discontent that Abdul Hamid's despotic rule and resentment against European intervention in the Balkans, however, led to the military revolutions of the Young Turks in 1908. After a short-lived reactionary uprising in April 1909, Abdul Hamid was deposed and his brother was proclaimed Sultan as Mehmed. Abdul Hamid worked with the young Ottomans to realize some form of constitutional arrangements. This new form could help bring about a liberal transition with an Islamic provenance. The young Ottomans believed that the modern parliamentary system was a restatement of the practice of constitution, of shura, that had existed in early Islam. In December 1876, due to the 1875 insurrection in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the ongoing war with Serbia and Montenegro, and the feeling aroused throughout Europe by the cruelty used in stamping out the 1876 Bulgarian rebellion, Abdul Hamid promulgated a constitution and a parliament. Midhat Pasha headed the commission to establish a new constitution, and the cabinet passed the constitution on 6 December 1876, allowing for a bicameral legislature with a senatorial appointment made by the Sultan. The first ever election in the Ottoman Empire was held in 1877. Crucially, the constitution gave Abdul Hamid the right to exile anyone he deemed a threat to the state. Pasha headed the commission to establish a new constitution, and the cabinet passed the constitutions on the 6th December 1876, allowing for a bicameral legislature with a senatorial appointment made by the Sultan. The first ever election in the Ottoman Empire was held in 1877. Crucially, the constitution gave Abdul Hamid the right to exile anyone and he deemed a threat to the state. The delegates to the Constantinople conferences were surprised by the promulgation of a constitution, but European power at the conferences rejected the constitution as a too radical change. They preferred the 1856 constitution or the 1839 Gulhane edict and questioned whether a parliament was necessary to act as an official voice of the people. In any event, like many other would-be reforms of the Ottoman Empire, it proved nearly impossible. Russia continued to mobilize for war. And only in 1877, and the Ottoman Empire went to war with the Russian Empire. In 1878, Abdul Hamid consolidated his rule by suspending both the constitution and the parliament, purging the young Ottomans and curtailing the power of the Sublime Porte. He ruled as an absolute monarch for the 3 decades. Ideologically an Islamist, the Sultan asserted his title of Caliph to Muslims around the world. His paranoia about being overthrown, like his uncle and brother, led to the creation of a secret police organization and a censorship regime. The Ottoman Empire's modernization and centralization continued during the reign, including reforms of the bureaucracy, extension of the Rumelia Railway and the Anatolia Railway, and the construction of the Baghdad Railway and the Hejaz Railway. System for population registration, standardization of tribal groups, and control over the press were part of a unique imperialist system in French province known as borrowed colonialism. The farthest reaching reforms were in education, with many professional schools established in fields such as law, arts, trades, civil engineering, veterinary medicine, customs, farming, and linguistics, along with the first local modern law school in 1998. Unlike many other Ottoman sultans, Abdul Hamid visited distant countries. In the summer of 1867, 9 years before he ascended the throne, he accompanied his uncle Sultan Abdul Aziz on a visit to Paris, London, Vienna, and the capitals of cities of a number of other European countries. Abdul Hamid ascended the throne after his brother Murad was deposed on 31 August 1876. At his accession, some commentators were impressed that he rode prodigally unhindered to the Yub Sultan Mosque, where he was presented with a sword of Usman. Most people expected Abdul Hamid to support liberal movements, but he acceded the throne at a critical time. Economically, the political turmoil, local wars in the Balkans, and Russo-Turkish wars threatened the empire's very existence. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Let's meet in the video. Allah Hafiz.